I often get comments from people who feel helpless in finding a partner, feel like they're not attractive enough to find someone. And while I can't really help you much with the things that can't be controlled about you, there are some changes you can make to your daily psychological habits that are scientifically shown to make you more attractive seeming to other people. There's on one hand physical attractiveness, how somebody assesses your physical attractiveness to be, but there is also general attractiveness, how drawn they are to you. And non-physical aspects of being attracted to someone often can inflate a person's perception of your physical attractiveness as well. It's a type of halo effect that I don't really hear talked about a lot. We tend to assume that attractive people hold socially idealized traits, but it's the other way around too. People with socially idealized traits also tend to be rated as more attractive. So in this video, I'm going to share 5 different ways that you can seem more attractive to people by working purely on your personality. Caveat here, I don't think that you need to change in order to find your person, but if you're open to self-improvement, why not give some of these a try? Let's get started. Number 1, a really easy way to increase your attractiveness in other people's eyes is to be a very positive person. Be optimistic, kind, and warm. Several studies have looked at the influence of personality information on a person's perceived physical attractiveness. So basically, researchers have given participants photographs of an opposite-sex person alongside information about their personality. And having that personality information significantly changed their ratings of that person's attractiveness. So traits like positivity, optimism, kindness, and warmth increased a person's perceived attractiveness. People who smile during first impressions are also rated as more likable and attractive. People who take part in generous and altruistic behavior, who showcase themselves being kind and giving, are also considered more attractive. All of this because when you give off the impression that you're a kind, positive person, you're essentially signaling to the people around you that you're a good person to be around. You're going to make their life more beautiful rather than more unpleasant. And who doesn't want more of that? So a quick fire tip if you want to become a more positive person, every time you feel the urge to say something negative, say something positive instead. Let's say that you're on a date at the restaurant and you've been waiting for the waitress for half an hour. You could in that moment say, "Where is this waitress? It's been 30 minutes. She's so lazy." When you feel the urge to say that, instead switch it to something positive. You can say, "I love the ambiance in this restaurant." Or if you're talking to someone and they start gossiping, instead of feeling the urge to respond to the gossip, switch to saying something nice, whether it be about the person in question or about the person you're talking to or somebody else around you. Number 2. Being emotionally regulated will also make you seem more attractive. I used to be clueless when it came to emotion regulation. As a young adult, I may not have had issues with people perceiving me as physically attractive, but I don't think I really came off as an attractive partner to have simply because I didn't know what to do with my emotions. We don't really want to be around someone who sends a million texts when we're busy, or who lashes out when they're angry, or who cannot handle even the smallest of frustrations on their own. It's a sign of immaturity, and people generally aren't looking to babysit their partner. A study from 2005 demonstrated that individuals high in emotion regulation were rated as more attractive and likable. Also, people who are better at regulating their emotions tend to have healthier and more stable relationships. Emotion regulation helps maintain close relationships, helps avoid unhealthy conflicts, work through healthy ones, respond constructively to stress, all of which tends to increase relationship satisfaction. So if you want to be a more attractive partner, get your emotions in order. How do you do this? Obviously, I could go into dozens of emotion regulation skills right now, but the very first thing that I think is also the most important to know is that when you're feeling a powerful emotion, you have to slow down and practice mindfulness. And this is where I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Aura. Like I said, the very first step in being able to regulate your emotions is to sit with them, to sit with your emotional experience. And I used to be very bad at the sitting with it part. When I was younger, I didn't really know how to self-soothe. Activities like mindfulness and meditation are a really good way to press pause when you're feeling a powerful emotion and take stock of what's going on before you respond. Studies have found that mindfulness enhances emotion regulation, which is why therapies like DBT and ACT, which heavily emphasize emotion regulation, also heavily prioritized mindfulness. And Aura is a mindfulness and sleep app that's used by over 7 million people. It won the Best of Apple award. It's an all-in-one place for meditation, stories, mindfulness, breathwork, spirituality, kind of like Spotify, but for the mind and soul. And what I love about Aura is that you can tailor it to your specific needs based on your goals, and then it gives you recommendations on certain activities you can try out. And it's not just audio only either. Lately, I've been using Aura mainly as a way to just slow down, because my main goal at this point in my life is I just need to manage my stress. I need to take everything a lot more mindfully and slowly. So taking just 5 to 10 minutes out of my day to meditate has been really helpful. It's something so simple yet so powerful. So if you're looking for a way to boost your emotion regulation or just take care of yourself and practice some meditation, give Aura a try. Get started completely free using my link below, and the first 500 people to use my link will also get 25% off their Aura membership. Thank you so much to Aura. Number 3, another way to seem more attractive to people is to have a full social and leisure life. People with stronger social ties are perceived as more attractive partners because we all want a partner who makes us feel safe, and part of feeling safe means having these social connections that we can fall back on when stuff goes south. And also that the person we're going to be with isn't going to make us ostracized by association, thereby lessening our own survival. Also, putting aside just the social aspect, people who have rich personal lives who take part in a lot of hobbies on their own are considered more interesting. They have something to talk about. They have something to share that they did that day. They enrich our lives. They're always growing and self-improving, and it pushes us to do the same. We don't have to worry that they're always going to require all of our time and attention because they're busy with their own stuff. They can handle themselves. So one really important way to become more attractive is to get out there and participate in some hobbies, preferably with other people. Plus, by doing so, especially participating in social hobbies, you're going to be increasing your chances of meeting potential partners. So it's a double whammy. So a quick fire tip for this one is brainstorm what is one way that you can get more involved in something you enjoy and dive right in. Maybe it's joining a book club or a sailing class or a hockey team. Whatever it is, as long as you enjoy it and you are participating in it, ideally with other people, you are going to see the benefits of that. Number 4, people who can communicate maturely seem more attractive. A person who tends to shut down and stonewall when they're upset, who struggles to express their needs, or who expresses their needs in a way that's hurtful, is unlikely to be perceived as an attractive partner, except by people who have their own psychological complexes that they're trying to recreate. This is why it's really important to know how to communicate well. Now, again, I could give you dozens of healthy communication strategies here. A lot of them are in the connection course, but there is one that I think can be really helpful in any situation that I'll share with you now. The acronym is called DEAR. It's from DBT, Dialectical Behavioral Therapy, and it stands for describe the situation, express what you feel and think, assert what you need, and reinforce what you need. So let's run through this with an example. Let's say that lately you've been feeling like a friendship of yours is really one-sided. Starting with D, describe the situation. Hey, I noticed that you've been texting me a lot when you need some support, and last week when I told you that I needed some support, you stopped messaging me. It's very cut and dry, very objective, just stating the facts. You're not really speculating on anything, you're not sharing your feelings yet. But next, you will. And E, express how you feel about it. This makes me feel undervalued in our friendship. It makes me feel a little bit used. A, assert your request. So in the near future, I think I need to take a little bit of a break from helping you out with what you're going through because I'm honestly going through my own stuff, and I think maybe leaning on a therapist would be more helpful. And R, reinforcing statements. This is where you explain to people what they have to gain if they can respect your request and or what they have to lose if they're not able to. So you could say something like, I really think that if you have multiple avenues of support in your life, you will feel more like you're getting your needs met and I will too. Or you could say, you know, in the future, if this keeps happening, I'm not sure that I'm going to keep wanting to be a part of this friendship. It's very rudimentary, you know, just top of my head, this is what I came up with, but I think you get the idea. If you have a situation where you've been thinking about how to communicate healthily with someone, I would love it if you could actually map out your own DEAR acronym in the comments. If you feel comfortable sharing, I'd love to see what you guys come up with. And lastly, something that will make you seem more attractive to other people is having self-love and self-respect. People who are higher in self-esteem are perceived as both more physically and socially attractive, as are people higher in self-confidence. This is because when somebody respects and loves themselves, it kind of signals to other people what their value is. I know that people who struggle with self-love often have immense value to share with others, and I've certainly struggled with self-love in the past myself. But unfortunately, because of these, basic heuristics, these quick assumptions that we make about people, when somebody treats themselves like they are not worthy, other people tend to believe them. Also, when somebody is self-respecting, they're capable of assertiveness and boundary setting, which signals to other people that they have the skills required to keep a relationship healthy and also to survive in the world as a couple. Now, it's kind of a catch-22 because in many ways, I think everybody needs to know what it's like to feel loved before they can truly love themselves. That's why people with childhood trauma, for instance, who weren't given that love when they were really young, may struggle to love themselves until they find that person in adulthood who treats them well, because they miss that pivotal developmental milestone. We learn how to love ourselves and how to soothe ourselves by somebody else offering that to us. But there are some things that you can do to start seeing your worth. So one really quick fire tip: every day when you're making decisions, ask yourself, what would a self-respecting, self-loving person do? If you have somebody in mind, maybe even visualize them, identify a person who you think is really self-respecting and self-loving. So would they cook themselves a healthy meal or order something that's nutritionally pretty minimal? Would they let their family walk all over them? Would they answer that disrespectful, objectifying text? Would they stay up all night watching Netflix, or would they listen to a sleep meditation instead? By practicing this day in and day out, you can start to introject that person who you think is more self-respecting and more self-loving than you, and over time, you become that person. In conclusion, here are 5 psychological habits that will make you more attractive to other people. Be a positive person. A really easy way to practice this is every time you feel the urge to say something negative, replace it with something positive instead. Number 2, have emotion regulation. A really simple way to do this is to start meditating every time you feel a powerful emotion, and to sit with your feelings and just press pause. Number 3, having a full social and leisure life. Simple way to do this is to start to throw yourself into a new hobby. Number 4, be able to communicate maturely. One way that you can do that is by using the acronym DEAR. Describe the situation, express yourself, assert your request, and reinforce. And number 5, foster a sense of self-love and self-respect. You can do this by every single day when you're making decisions, asking yourself, what would a self-loving, self-respecting person do? Thank you again to Aura for sponsoring a portion of today's video. Don't forget to check them out using the link below, and I'll see you soon.